Good Saturday morning. This is the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Saturday, July 13th. We apologize for the late broadcast. We had some technical difficulties this morning. Looking at fire potential impacts for today, in the yellow, we have scattered, mixed, wet and dry thunderstorms through here. So basically, the higher terrain and the further east you go, the wetter the thunderstorms will be. There will be some isolated dry strikes still poking into parts of eastern Nevada and parts of southern Idaho. They'll have to keep an eye on. Otherwise, where it's not showering, it will be hot and dry as you head further to the western portion of the Great Basin. Now on Sunday, on the eastern and northern periphery, still some isolated mixed wet and dry thunderstorms moving on out. For a lot of these areas, this will be the third or fourth day of fairly high humidity. We don't anticipate that new ignitions would start anything right away on Sunday, but we are concerned about increasing winds as dry air punches in ahead of the next trough of low pressure across parts of northwestern Nevada. And then on Monday, still the threat of those winds pushing a bit further east, gusts of over 30 miles per hour. So we see the orange, and still the threat of some mixed wet and dry thunderstorms as another front pushes down from the Pacific Northwest. So quite a bit of activity going on. Looking at precipitation last 24 hours, not significant. The first shade of blue, fairly light precipitation, so only in the secondary shades where amounts were a little bit higher, more on the wetting rain side. We did have lightning here on the right-hand side across many locations, going across parts of southern Idaho, the outer periphery of the Sierra Front, all across parts of Utah and the Arizona Strip. Some of these southern and western areas were drier. We did have some ignitions. You can see here new fire starts in the red. Quite a bit of activity across southern Idaho, the Sierra Front of Nevada, and continued across the Arizona Strip in southern Utah. Looking at observed precipitation, and here's where it's really significant. The percent of normal here on the left-hand side, you can see this dark red through here, basically 0 to 5% of normal. That's because normally you get the monsoon coming in this time of year, and we have been absent the monsoon, affectionately known as the non-soon this year. As a result, ERC still coming on up quite high in the oranges and reds, 70th to 80th percentile, even close to 90th in a few areas in the red. They've come down quite a little bit in some parts of northern Utah and parts of Idaho with some of the shower activity, but they'll be drying out eventually. The 10-hour fuels took a little bit of a decrease across parts of Idaho, but still in the 5 to 6% range. It's areas in the red, 3 to 4%, or even locally lower, that we're most concerned about the potential for large fire in grass and brush in the lower elevations. 100-hour fuels, looking up here in parts of eastern Idaho towards the Idaho Falls and Pocatello area, they are down below normal now, and between normal or just below normal, but not at record levels, but almost at record levels across parts of Castle Country and points further south and east, and down towards the Arizona Strip, also well below normal, just above record levels. So quite dry for quite a few areas across the Great Basin. Significantly dried out. The only thing keeping things from getting overly critical, the live fuel moisture, southern Idaho a little bit above normal. Again, sagebrush a little bit above normal in central Utah and above normal in parts of southwest Utah. That's the only reason why some of our 700-acre fires aren't turning into 7,000-acre fires just yet. Satellite imagery shows break-off of semi-monsoonal moisture, not quite the deep monsoon, but what would be the start of it, coming off of a break of a piece of it coming into Utah again for the second or third day. So this will be another trigger for showers and thunderstorms, but lots of cloud cover again for the last couple days. Same story going into Idaho as well, so humidities will be a little higher. The thought is that ignitions will not be as big of a problem today as they were the last 2 days. We will have to watch this area, though, in southwest Idaho. Weather Service has local red flag warnings there. There could be some isolated strikes, and conditions are a bit drier over there. So looking at the upper level map on the left here for this afternoon, you can see the plume of semi-monsoonal moisture affecting some of these areas in Idaho, Utah, staying fairly dry across Nevada, at least not as moist, but there still is enough instability here in parts of northeast Nevada for perhaps some lightning. Here's our fire potential. Things have modified a little bit with the cloud cover, high humidity, and scattered showers, but still, other than the higher terrain of Utah and into western Wyoming, moderately to quite dry. And for this afternoon's weather, here is the precipitation, and it'll be fairly solid across the higher terrain of Utah, and I think we see bright greens, not as much of an issue, but where you get this kind of a popcorn signature across parts of Ely and up towards even into parts of southwest Idaho, that's where there'll be more breaks of sun. The storms will be more isolated, but also the lightning could have a better chance of igniting. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But again, ignitions should not be as bad as they've been the last few days. You can see the humidity here, single digits in the south, low to mid-teens in Nevada and Utah, and getting into the mid-20s as you head into parts of Idaho. Now, on Sunday, we do have high risk for wind coming in off the Sierra front into northwest Nevada. Reason for it, this trough low pressure, the next one coming on in. The tight packing these height lines, drier air punching on in. You notice the monsoonal or semi-monsoonal showers have broken off and basically moved out into Colorado. Here are the winds here on the left-hand side. These orange shades are gusts 25 to 30. Some locally higher gusts up here in Idaho. Humidity up in Idaho will be higher, though, in the mid-20s, but it's these low humidities here in the low to mid-teens or single digits in Nevada that we're most concerned about, especially if they get some lightning. Again, for Monday, still dry and breezy. You can see some of the PSAs drying out from green to yellow across parts of Utah. And the winds decrease a bit across the Sierra front. Still moderate breezes, gusts about 25 across parts of southern Utah. Gusty breezes on the eastern side of the Snake River Plain. You can see gusts of 30, 35. Fortunately, their humidity still a bit higher. 3-day precipitation totals fairly light. Most areas just a few hundredths of an inch. You can see the impact of Tropical Storm Barry on parts of the Mississippi Delta. Now going to Tuesday, you see the tight packing of these height lines through here, drier air punching in. We do have the threat of high risk for winds and low humidity across parts of southwest Utah and the Arizona Strip, areas that have received quite a bit of lightning over the past few days. Wednesday, winds may slacken off a little bit, but still drier air punching into the southern areas. A little bit cooler and more moist open Idaho. And for Thursday, a little weak trough low pressure or cutting off through here, not significant, but a deeper low, unseasonably deep out here off the British Columbia coast. And that one drops further south on Friday and threatens to phase with this trough. This would bring another round of wind, bring a little break of semi-monsoonal moisture back in, perhaps some lightning into Utah. But if this trough deepens quite a bit, it would weaken this four corners high, and we would again disrupt the monsoon pattern for the upteenth time this summer season. You can see our PSAs have dried out quite a bit, so we expect any fire activity or existing fires to have more of a threat as we go towards the latter part of the week. 7-day precipitation totals, the deep monsoonal moisture with the heavy precipitation of several inches staying south of the Arizona border down into Mexico. And the 8 to 14-day outlook, near to maybe a fraction above normal, so basically normal mid-July, late July heat, but below normal temperature, below normal precipitation. Again, no real good monsoonal push into the Great Basin. It'll be further to the east across parts of New Mexico and Colorado and to the Texas area. This concludes our briefing. Have a great day.